Choo choo.
Perfect timing.
No,
It is 2021, and surprisingly, the world hasn't become a much better place yet now that 2020 is over. I always thought that it was just going to magically become a perfect place. And speaking of, start the year off with a boom. T's and P's to Dr. Dre, fighting for his life with an aneurysm in the ICU. But we do have a ray of light. It's a hope, and that is that on Inauguration Day, we know that we are going to
wait a minute. Sorry,
have
Adam.
heavenly
What
paradise
was that?
come down onto Earth.
the sour Laffy Taffy that I just.
What the hell? You interrupted his whole intro, Dr. Dre.
Seriously.
Year and year to
Sorry,
come.
guys. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Sorry.
Well,
Trying to
with
gain
that-
viewers.
With
Jesus
that, welcome to another edition of All Aboard, gentlemen. Happy
Yeah.
New Year. How was your New Year holiday?
Happy New Year.
Wait, go ahead, Ned.
Hey,
Tell
well,
us
no,
about your New Year.
mine was quiet. Didn't really do much. Went out to our downtown area, of course, and was back in the house by 10 o'clock. So no big deal. Popped a bottle of champagne, Perrier, Jouet. It was good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
Okay, Orlando, riding the It's
Yeah.
a Small World.
I went down to Central Florida. It was actually colder there than Massachusetts on the 25th when I flew down.
Yeah.
20, not only colder, 20 degrees colder. So
Wow,
it was about
that's a lot.
35 when I got there. It wasn't that good. But after 2 days, it got better. New Year's was excellent. I spent on the house with a pool, popped the champagne like Ned said. I went to bed at 12:02.
There you go.
Saw the
Perfect.
fireworks and went to bed. That was it.
Perfect. And I had a good one. It was just low key. We were at home. My two oldest kids actually stayed up till midnight, which we were all excited to let them do. And then at about 10 o'clock, I realized that was a huge mistake. But yeah, no, it was a nice little quiet, relaxing New Year. And this year has started off pretty interestingly. And LK, you wanted to talk about one, and I'm very curious to hear your take on this as a Latino. But apparently, Hilaria Baldwin is actually just some rich chick from Boston and not a Latina like she pretended. And this is clearly another Elizabeth Warren situation going on. So, LK, what are your thoughts here? Is this cultural appropriation?
I mean, it's complete stupidity, right? Why do you have to appropriate on someone's culture? But not only that, I think if you're gonna appropriate a culture, appropriate one that's a minority, right? Because saying that you're Spanish, like you're just another type of white person, right? Aren't the Western Europeans all white? So why would you hold the flag of Spanish country? I don't think it makes
considering what
sense.
she looks like, I don't think she could pretend to be anything but
Right.
white.
But not only that, I think the thing is right, and this is what pisses me off in this term of in this topic of ethnicity and all of that, race, because so my entire family, and I was talking to my dad a few days ago, both my mom's grandparents and my dad's grandparents, they were all from Europe, right? So boils down to my parents, which are like 100% European descent, and then me, that's 100% European descent. If I wasn't born in South America, but I was born in Europe, I would be considered white instead of Latino. So what are we doing here? This just because I was born in a less or a poorer country, now I'm considered Latino. It's complete bullshit. And I first of all, I don't agree with all this differentiation. But going back to Hilaria, she's just stupid, right? Like if you're gonna get again a flag to hold in a country or a culture to represent, get a minority. At least you get an advantage. I think it's utter bullshit. I think she should lose all the sponsors and contracts, whatever she has in terms of sponsorship. But what pisses me off the most is that nobody is talking about that.
Of course not.
It's as if nothing happened. Imagine if a prominent, right-wing conservative person did the same, they would be all over it. So it's the double standard again, which pisses me off.
Whoa. They make fun of the first lady and her.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, that's true.
But see, now I've spent a lot of time in Costa Rica, especially in high school and in college. So I'm going to be identifying as Neduardo. So from now on, please, I should have put that in the description. But what I found most
Seriously.
offensive about it was she picked the most elitist of the Spanish-speaking countries in the world, and Spain looks down on all the other countries for butchering the language. And it just cracks me up. That's like, she couldn't say she was Colombian, or
right.
or something. She had to say, no, I'm from Spain and Cadiz, and she does the. I heard that too. There was somewhere I saw that she does the Z as the TH sound, Cadiz. It's like, oh, you bitch,
It's like I said, like
Even
if you're gonna pick a
Spaniards shit on that accent in Cadiz. They're like, come
pick
on.
a fucking Latin America country, right?
Yeah.
Where you can say you're minority. Like, it's fucking Spain. I guess now her parents live there, right? Something like that.
Hey, they're probably tax dodgers, and they're living in Marbella somewhere. But she wouldn't say she was Dominican, would she? Oh, hell no.
Well, I mean, the funniest thing to me was the clip that they played on the show with Alec Baldwin. No, the one where Alec Baldwin is talking about her and faking an accent for her, because like, I mean, he has to know about this, right? Like, there's no way he was just like, he was clearly in on this.
He accused the accusers. He went after TMZ. They're scum.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what they always do,
right?
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
what they always do.
They're just reporting what they saw, and as we all know, as much as I hate to admit it, too, TMZ is probably the most reliable news agency in the world. They say it's true. It's probably true.
Oh no, it's
now
true.
gonna do a skit on that or what?
Oh yeah, sure.
No.
I'll hold my breath.
I don't know. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Not a chance. And again, I think I agree with you both. I think it's hysterically insane. And again, just because of the way the media goes, obviously nothing is going to be made out of this. But if this was on the right, it would have just been such a different story. And it's funny because like you can see how the media has changed over the years. Because harkening back to Rachel Dolezal or whatever. Even though, she wasn't on the right, that was still a big story. That was a big thing about cultural appropriation and about, pretending to be something you weren't. And, they were joking around about it, but there was the whole idea of, can you, just like with gender, can you identify as something that, as a different race or whatnot? And it's just the way the media has turned now just to how opinionated it has to be. No coverage whatsoever. This will never be that story.
And I heard on TV she talking about I was trying to defend the culture and making sure to represent. It's like Spanish people do not need representation.
No,
they're good.
they're good.
They don't need your help. Especially Spain. So like tell me another lie. Try again.
But my thing was, can you imagine if you knew her in high school or in college?
Yeah.
And it's like, Hilaria, what the fuck? And if you're still in contact, you'd reach out and say, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I couldn't get away with that. If my friends, that I've known for like, 40 years, they would give me such shit. And they tell the press, by the way.
Of course. No, of course.
They'd rat me out.
My buddies from high school, it would be the exact same thing. It would never, ever, ever get to that point. But, you keep saying something that I'm curious about. Hang on. You keep saying, wait, okay, hang on. You keep saying that, being a Latino or a Hispanic is not a minority. You know that technically it is, right? Like, you are a minority.
Hold on. What I'm saying is, if I was born in Europe, I wouldn't be a minority. I would be considered white.
Correct.
Yeah, but in America, you're considered
a
minority.
Not really.
No.
35% of the population.
Yeah,
I'm not talking numbers. I'm talking about what you are as for like
let's say. So hold on. Let's say
all the minority programs and whatnot. You count as a minority.
If I'm born, let's say I'm born in Spain, I cannot check the Hispanic box. I need
of
to.
Course you can.
No, it's the white box.
It's not there, Adam.
Yeah.
That box
it's a white box
in Spain.
Yeah, it's white box. Like let's say, another example, Italy, right? If I'm born in Italy, what box do I check? It's white.
Right.
So I don't know. Half of my family came from Italy. Yeah. No, I wasn't born there, but let's say I was born in Italy, white, because I was born in South America, Latino. So,
right.
Does it really matter?
Except Portugal, they're just the worst.
Yeah, all the fucking little islands, right?
All the Canary
yeah.
Islands. What is? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Portuguese is also just a joke of a language. It's basically, just fucking up Spanish even more.
no,
Azores and all that, yeah.
yeah, the Azores too.
Well,
No, but
speaking of-
anyway, Adam, you've been accused of pretending to be Jewish, right?
I have been.
So, what do you have to say about that? Are you
well,
really
well,
Christian
which-
and just pretending to be?
I'm actually Mormon. I'm a
Here we
practicing
go.
Mormon, and this is all just a giant joke. I don't even know anything of what I'm saying. I just make it up and just assume that no one's going to question me. But yeah, no, I'm not Jewish at all, like at all. I just had a bacon cheeseburger.
That's another wife.
I mean, there's at least 15 of them locked in the basement.
Jesus Christ.
How did they get any work done down there?
Next topic.
Well, speaking of wives are women, right? So
Amen.
obviously,
Look at the
and
gender
Judaism.
now misgendering. How do you know that? It
Well,
could just
yeah,
be
that's
ova
true.
producing specimen.
All right. Well, then.
I'm a sperm producing specimen.
Anyway,
Anyway, speaking of Judaism, then, amen, right? Amen is a Hebrew word. It translates to "so be it," right? That's how you guys pronounce it, amen, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way it's pronounced in English. I get that. The actual correct way to pronounce it in Hebrew is amen. Just so that we're all clear, it's not M-E-N. It's actually like M-A-I-N. So, and Ned, you can, I'm sure, attest to knowing that it was first used in the Old Testament, Deuteronomy 27:15, and then 29 more times after that. Has nothing to do with gender. That said, to me, this story, and this is why I really want to talk about it, is so emblematic of the way that gender is now being viewed by the uber PC culture. And this is, I think, ties into what we were just talking about, where I think that it's actually dangerous and it has serious implications the way that they react towards this. I've never been able to understand the idea that the only way to treat everyone equally is to pretend that everyone is the same and there are no natural differences between people. It boggles my mind. Like, we can still treat each other equally and celebrate our differences. Ned, what are your thoughts?
Well, way to claim jump on amen. It's actually Old Hebrew to Greek to Latin, and it means like pretty much the same thing. It's like certainly.
Yep.
It's an exclamation at the end of a prayer. So be it is another way to. Is another translation.
That's what Adam said.
Yeah, no. But did he? Did he say so be it?
Thanks, okay.
Yeah.
I
No,
did.
you got that. I missed that. I wasn't paying attention when he was talking. But what? That's exactly what the plan is, though, is to just make us all the same, and that's part of the whole plan. Homogenize everything, culture, regional differences, everything. So that's the plan. Amen. A woman. It's also childish. I mean, I actually laugh like, what a bunch of fools.
Yep.
So it kind of really reflected on them. Meanwhile, they're patting themselves in the back. Good Lord.
Well, this is peak patronizing, right?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
they just want to pander.
Yep.
And
They
how
don't mean it.
it says amen. I'm saying a woman as well, but they have no idea what they're talking about. They
Correct.
just want to hit the box, right? Oh, I patronized, I pandered, right? I did my equality, deal of the day or whatever.
It's really interesting because in Judaism, right? So there's a lot of aspects of Orthodox Judaism that gets unfairly, in my mind, labeled as sexist. And it, hey wife,
Hello.
Get back in the cellar.
okay, seriously.
With the other 14.
And so there's one main prayer that we say 3 times a day, right? And it's called the Shemona Esrei, whatever. It starts with saying, "Blessed are you, Lord our God, Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." Now, certain sects of Judaism have changed that and added Father also of Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. And that I can sort of understand. I mean, I think it's, again, a little whatever. It's not the sect that I practice, whatever. But I can understand that because there's a little there. It actually still connects to what it is that you're saying. This is nothing. This is
Right.
just saying if there are 3 letters MEN in a row in any word or anything whatsoever, you have to add WO before it, no matter what the context, no matter what the word. And it is insane to me. I can't comprehend this. And listen, if you feel like you don't identify as this gender that you were born, that's fine. But you have to understand that there are still biological and physiological differences. You know, you can't go to the doctor and, you know, some of the things that you may be afflicted with because you're natural born.
Well,
gender.
I think that,
I mean, it's.
but I think that going into that part, I don't want to touch it because there's
doesn't
a
wanna
lot
touch that
more.
one.
No, it's a lot more than that, right? I respect people that don't, you know, that they're not cisgender, and that's fine.
Yep.
But I
Yep.
think the problem here is like homicide. It's a Latin
Yep.
word, right? That says murderer, and now they came up with a new word called femicide. That says, it's the act of killing woman, right? But homicide is not the act of killing man, right? Or man killing man. It's just fucking Latin word that means murder, regardless of your gender, right? So this kind of thing to me is pander, right? You're just creating words that sound like the female version, right?
Yep.
So a woman, femicide, and all that to pander to oh, we're equal. When at the end you're just disrespecting the languages.
I agree.
In my view, like Latinx. Like you want to piss me off, it's say Latinx. Like there's no Latinx.
Good to
It's
know.
Latina or Latino.
Well,
And
the Romance languages though have feminine and masculine.
they do.
Yes,
Great,
They
which is
do.
fantastic.
And listen, I didn't
It's
create.
easier too, by the way.
I did not create the rules, right? But I follow the rules. I mean, it's my language. I like to like. There's Latina, there's Latino. The plural when there's both genders, unfortunately, is Latinos. Hey, I didn't make the rules. Again, it is what it is. But my problem is, every time you see this freaking like Latinx, it's not people that were born in Latin America. It's like the first generation American that think they are Latinos, and or the second generation. It's people that try to to be I don't know, politically correct
Yeah,
or
but,
whatever.
but LK, I go back a lot further than you, especially in Miami. And it's like when 35, 40 years ago, they didn't say, no one referred to themselves as Latino. I'm Cuban,
Right.
Colombian. Don't trust that guy. He's from
Yeah.
Venezuela. Come on.
Yep.
Colombians, we hate Venezuelans.
Yeah.
And Dominicans and Cubans, oh my God.
Yeah, but they didn't figure out if they just like lump everyone together into one group, they can be like a strong minority, right?
I don't know if they did that or the white
True.
liberal female culture in the US did. And suddenly they're all Latins.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no. I'm
That's
Mexican.
not-
I have nothing to do with them.
Why can we use Latin? Why can we use the English version of the word, which is gender neutral?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, a woman.
I mean, any
We're being
that makes sense
manipulated.
There. Oh God.
I
saw a meme that was like, if you follow up amen with a woman, you
You're
are a moron.
Hey, moron. Good.
Which I thought was a good one. But yeah, I mean, do you think that we'll ever get to a point where gender is taken out of the English language?
Well, the language changes all the time too. So language does evolve. So that could happen anyway. But
Well, I mean, this was
I'd
also
hate to
done
see it
in
for
response to what
different-
they were doing in the house, right?
I hate to
to
see
how they.
I just don't want it to happen for this reason. If it evolves that way, like English has evolved, the English that we speak today is not the same English spoken 100 years ago. Try
No, but
watching an old movie, right?
But
Yeah,
there's no English is a gender neutral language, right?
It's a gender neutral language, correct?
Yeah.
And that was my struggle in the beginning when I say, "Oh, I'm going out with a friend," but is it a female friend or a male friend? Like we're just going out like as friends or
Amiga,
as
mi
friends.
amigo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
All right, that's another
But-
problem we're not going to be able to solve in the next.
No, but
20
Hey,
but,
guys.
I mean, it is.
A woman.
Oh God. Let us all pray and let us say, in the name of podcast Jesus, a woman.
A woman.
And speaking of, guys, the show is back. We had a nice little
Good
break
segue.
there, and thank you. And now it's back, and we're officially at the 3 episodes a week. How did it feel today? Is the first day that we didn't have the show on a normal Tuesday in a long time. So, I feel like there was just that missing. Like I kept being like, oh wait, where's the show? Why aren't I seeing people tweeting angrily about the show not going up? But yeah, I mean, what about you guys? What are your thoughts on that?
They say when you're in battle and you lose a limb, you can feel that limb tingle for many, many years afterwards. I felt something tingling today, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was. But yeah, no, it was definitely. I missed it definitely.
And it's
Definitely.
impressive.
I was very
that at your
busy at
age
work
you can
today,
still
but
feel that tingling.
Well, so
At
honestly,
11 o'clock, I even if I'm at work, and if I have to go to a meeting, I have to stop it. That's great. But at 11 o'clock, I'm okay. I got the Kirk show running in the background as I'm working, and it's a gap when it's not there. It was it was a big gap over the holiday, but when you're not going to have it 5 times a week.
but honestly, for me, psychologically, it was easier today than last year when they would just like skip a day or they were on a break because psychologically I knew that when this year started,
Yeah,
it would be 3
true.
weeks.
True.
So it was less of a pain, you know.
Yep.
And also last year,
So-
in that circumstance too, there was something. Kirk was away.
Yeah.
It was more like
Yeah.
he's.
But also, like 11 o'clock came, I had that tingling, like you said. But I was like, oh yeah, it's Tuesday. There's no show. So I think subconsciously I was like, yeah, that's fine. I know there's no show. Did I miss it? Yeah, absolutely. Would I wish they kept the 5 days? Yes, but I don't think it was as bad as, oh yeah, today was the time that should be have a podcast, but they are on a break or they are traveling or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it was different, at least from my perspective.
And you have Blind Mike's podcast to fill the needs right now. To
But
fill in the gap.
if you want, don't subscribe. Okay, only if you feel like.
But do you guys think we're gonna get a really fire Kirk 3 times a week instead of having that fire spread out 5 days a week? Do you think that there's gonna be more intense, or is it just gonna be a standard chaos 3 times a week, nothing new?
I think it'll be as good as before. I don't think it will change quality. I'm really not worried about that.
Neither am I. You can't fake or force the intensity. If it's going to be forced, it sucks. And I don't think he's going to.
Yep.
He's a professional.
No,
So,
what,
of
what,
course.
Nothing can trigger him. Absolutely.
what
But
I
if
will
it's
tell
there
is,
for
I think Mike was very good on the show, on the Monday episode. I think not having that weight of working at Barstool anymore freed him a little bit.
Oh, he
to
felt
develop
he sounded
himself.
so much more comfortable. Yeah.
And as I said many times, the Mike that started in July 19 was the Mike that I liked. He was way more, free and was way more combative in a way. And then as the time progressed and it became that working relationship with Kirk and being hammered by the fans, I think he lost a lot of self-esteem. And going back to where he is right now, where he's the owner of his own destiny, right? He dictates what he does, and I think that lift off a weight in his shoulders. So I like him. I hope he continues like that.
and went right to his hips.
Yep.
Oh yeah, is he heavy?
He's
but
a lot of weight. That's a lot of angry eating there.
yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. This year's gonna be fun. Plus the new podcast, good things coming.
And I know I'm not the
I
first to
agree.
say it because someone else said it, and I think it was Madawaska Rob on the recap show on Justin's show. But I would like Mike in there like once, twice a week rather than Steve, because I think he's a better number 2 than Steve. Steve's great at what he does. Great.
Yeah, no, I guess Rob has
No.
this fake,
No,
this
that's
fake
Rob.
fight.
I
with,
said, I'm just you're taking what Rob said. I'm saying I agree with that because Steve sounds forced. Even his laughter sounds forced.
No, I
Disagree.
He's more comfortable.
I think
he's
Steve-
piping in.
Steve is way more comfortable than a year and a half ago. He can handle himself with Kirk. I mean, was there a difference? Is there a difference, right? When Mike is there, absolutely. But if there is only Kirk and Steve, it's the show is as good as as any of the other shows.
Agreed.
Okay, he's not going to move your golden
That's fine.
ticket seat to the top of the list.
Hey,
You don't have to like
I bought my tickets under different names, so
Pseudonym.
Oh,
Pseudonym LK.
yeah.
Yeah. LK's a genius. He went with Kirk Latino instead of Latino Kirk. He's
Yeah.
gonna trick them all.
El Capitan. Yeah.
Batman.
So no, I'm glad it's back. It was good, and I'm looking.
Yeah,
forward
no,
to,
I agree.
tomorrow, right? Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll get a new one, and I think they are bringing in other co-hosts. But I agree. I think Mike was great. I think he sounded more comfortable than he had in a long time. But I also agree with LK. I think that I haven't understood the whole the show sucks with it just two of them, and maybe I guess now the new term isn't suck pump. Now I'm a Kimp or something. But what can I say? I love the show, and I think that it's great whether it's just Kirk and Steve, and whether you add a third person, and I think it adds a different dynamic. And it's good.
Either, Adam.
Oh, I mean, if my name shows, he's gonna burn it and throw it away. Trust me, I'm very, very aware of that. Especially because and I made it especially easy because I bought under the name Adam in Jersey. So
there you go.
Easy to identify. I made it as easy for them as possible.
Little yarmulke over the A,
little Magenda Vita at the end and beginning of it.
All right, so the show's going to be good. So,
yep, excellent. Agreed. So I want to take you guys back a little bit. It was 1989. A year before that, Beetlejuice was a big hit in the box office, and Michael Keaton starred as Batman. He reprised this role 3 years later in the 1992 sequel, Batman Returns. Michael Keaton was 41 when Batman Returns was released. 30 years later, in 2022, at the tender age of 71, Michael Keaton will be reprising his role as Batman. Now, there are two different directions that I think we can go with this conversation. I'm going to start with the more complex ones. Guys, just start tuning me out for the next minute and just whatever. Exactly. So DC has been so unable to create the same magic and box office success as Marvel, and Marvel has been carefully and strategically bringing in a multiverse into their universe, right? DC seems to be just running in like Leroy Jenkins, like Leroy Jenkins, trying to just establish a multiverse in which in the same year, Robert Pattinson, Ben Affleck, and Michael Keaton will all be starring as Batman in two movies. So Pattinson is going to star in The Batman, which takes place in Earth 2, and Affleck is going to presumably have a small role as a younger Batman before Keaton becomes the older Batman in the movie The Flash, in which he will be tutoring Batgirl, and that will take place in what is being dubbed as Earth 1.
Batgirl? Who's going to be Batgirl?
Yeah,
that's a different question. That's a whole nother question. So there's that craziness with like how DC has just been so unable to replicate what Marvel's done. The other thing to me is just the way that why the fuck can't Hollywood do anything new anymore? Like, why are we bringing back Michael Keaton as Batman? Here are some movies that are coming out in 2021, okay? No offense to Kirk. Top Gun 2, Coming to America 2, another Mortal Kombat movie, The Fast and the Furious 9, a sequel to the original Ghostbusters movie, Space Jam 2, Hotel Transylvania 4, Jackass 4, Mission Impossible 7, and The Matrix 4, among many others. So what the fuck? Why? Like, I know people have been saying this for a while, but why the fuck is there just no new ideas in Hollywood? Ned, I'm going to let you go first and decide which direction you want to take this conversation in, which of those paths. But this whole thing just completely frustrates me.
Well, I agree, because you could blame it on COVID, but this predates COVID. This has become lazy. Yep. I mean, you really don't. It's all about the bottom line. Yep. They are you can do movies more spectacular with CGI, so you don't need the expense. But it's still expensive. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But my issue is all they want is the record-breaking opening weekend. And I prefer like the films that aren't like blockbusters, but have a better story. I've never been like a Marvel guy. Superman, Batman, that was about it. I did like Wonder Woman, the first one. 84 was terrible. I didn't see it, but I was reading the reviews.
It was terrible.
It was
terrible. I thought it was terrible.
The first one was good.
Yep.
But that's about it.
By the way, Gal Gadot is a goddess among men, and she is
phenomenal.
Yeah.
But okay, but that's it. But there's no new scripts, and I go so far as I don't even really like books that are transposed into a film, because they always lose something, especially if I read the book. So they're out of new ideas, and they're also lazy, and they're just writing for the buck, just for the big.
But there's not going to be another.
Well,
there isn't going to be an opening weekend box office anymore.
Exactly. So that's the thing now, because that was trending before COVID. Now with COVID, You're right. Now that's all out the window. So now I'm just wondering, are these things just in the that were in the development can in 2018 and 19, and now they're just going to release them now on streaming services, and they're not going to go to the movies.
Many of them
go to.
Yeah, I'm skeptical on that because I saw that Wonder Woman 84 just hit the $100 million mark, which basically breaks even, right, in the first 2 weekends.
Yep.
But I'm skeptical because that 100 million is movie theaters worldwide, right?
Yep.
Plus streaming, if I'm not wrong. So
you probably are.
I don't see the revenue coming from streaming because how many new subscriptions did HBO get because of this movie?
Correct.
I don't think it's a huge part of it. I think a lot's coming from movie theaters around the world that are already open, right? So there's one thing. But I think, like you said, Adam, there's two paths here. There is the trend of continuing franchises, right?
Yep.
And there's the trend of bringing old characters back into the franchises.
Yep.
If you talk about continuing franchises, I don't see a problem, but it's a risk, right? You may be successful or not, and more often than not, they are not successful. But am I excited to watch Coming to America 2? Yes. Am I excited to see Matrix 4? Yes. Am I excited to watch Fast and Furious 9? Yes. Because those are franchises that I like.
Fast and Furious 9, whatever, that one I'll be like, whatever, that I'm sure will be exactly like all the other ones. But do you really think Coming to America 2 or Matrix 4, even if you're excited to see them, do you really think it's going to live up to your expectations?
No.
Or any chance it's even
But here's the thing, and this is where we branch again, right? Fast and Furious, there are so many that it doesn't feel like it's been forever, right? So I know the storyline, the plot, it will suck because they can't possibly do anything else, right? It's just going to be a movie that I would like to watch because of the cost.
Just a fun action movie.
Yeah, but Coming to America, if they have a good plot, it will be an interesting movie because it's the same characters, right?
When was the last time Eddie Murphy or Arsenio Hall did anything funny?
Right, except for
it's been a while, but again, if the storyline is cool, it might not be as good as the first one, but it will be fun. However, from what I heard, from what I saw in the trailer, I'm iffy because it's about a story of him having a son from the lady that he was supposed to get married, right? But on the first movie, they never have sex. They never have sex, right? So it's kind of flawed. And the son is in Brooklyn or Queens. So how did he get there? So I need to see the movie to connect the dots.
And there are plot holes and Coming to America. Who knew?
We went way too far on Coming to America 2 because Coming to America 1 is legit one of the top 5 comedies.
Oh yeah, it's very cool.
Yep. It is hysterical. Are they going to play the 3 characters? Are they? Is
all the
okay.
I recommend you watching the trailer because the trailer is funny. And hold on. Okay. Matrix, right? Matrix 4. Yeah. Didn't Neo die at the end of Matrix 3?
Yeah. 3? Yeah.
That was Jesus' moment. I'm guessing probably Matrix 4 is when Jesus comes back to life.
However, Priyanka Chopra is in it, so it's gotta be good.
I mean, listen, it'll be eye candy, but the funny thing is, and
hold on, Justin.
Well, because I want to bring Justin in also. I want to bring Justin in also for this comment. So Justin, come on in.
Okay, so
I have two. Wait, before you go with that, I also just want to say something that I will never say again, and you will just leave it as said. The problem for me with sequels, is when it gets to a point where it bastardizes what you've already created and just waters it down. See the last couple of Star Wars movies, and those sequels, those just really bastardized and watered down a lot of what was great about Star Wars. Now that, Justin, you can smile, and Justin's going to explain to us the plot holes in the Matrix.
Matrix is, so Neo's dead in the real life, but he's still alive in the Matrix. So he's going to be, Keanu Reeves will be alive and kicking in still in the simulation, but will not take place outside of the Matrix. And they're actually bringing back one of the original directors. Did you know those directors are the Wachowski brothers, and now the Wachowski sisters?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
I did not know that. Really?
Yes.
Yeah, it happened shortly after the third Matrix was released, or the second one.
They both came out like 2 years separate from each other.
Right.
So,
Interesting.
but it's
Yeah,
only
not
one
really,
of them. Only one of them's doing it. So
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Justin. This is why he's the best.
That was Justin, the intern.
But yeah, no, I mean, I just, I can't. To me, it's just craziness when like you just listen. I loved Space Jam as a kid. I would love to see what
I'm
happens
not
next.
excited at all.
I loved, Coming to America. I loved Top Gun. I loved the original Ghostbusters movies. But at a certain point, you're gonna take something great and just crush it because now you're gonna leave me with a real sour taste in my mouth.
But yeah, so just touching real quick on Michael Keaton and bringing back
Yes.
actors, that's gonna be a shit show, right?
Yeah.
First of all, I don't like Robert Pattinson, right? Pattinson as Batman.
Yeah.
Don't like it. I didn't like Ben Affleck as Batman.
Nope.
So to me, the last good Batman was Christian Bale.
Yep.
Yes.
So I think we could
So-
scratch Batman's Ben Affleck's Batman as well as scratch Episode 8 of Star Wars.
Right. Well, I
Right.
also think though that you have to remember. I mean, first and foremost, I haven't watched any of the DC movies. I'm a big superhero movie guy. I haven't. Surprise. I haven't watched any of the DC movies after the first couple came out because they were just so bad. And that I think is the other thing here is why is DC, who has some real heavy hitters with Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, like why are they just so unable to replicate what Marvel does? But the thing with the different Batmans is I'm willing to give Pattinson a shot, and the only reason why is because I remember when they announced Heath Ledger as the Joker, and everyone was like, "You mean the fucking goofball from 10 Things I Hate About You?" Or that dude from The Patriot? Like, what the fuck are you doing? This is gonna be awful. He's gonna be the worst Joker. Leave it at Jack Nicholson. Blah 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 blah. And we all know what happens next. So I'm willing to give Robert Pattinson a chance because I think it's an out of the box, unexpected casting. And
Do you think he's gonna be better than Affleck?
I mean, I think I could take a shit and put a Batman costume on it, and it would be better than Affleck. I think Val Kilmer was a better Batman.
Well, I think DC fucked everything up, right? Because
Let Ned speak. Hashtag
no,
let
I'm
Ned
sorry,
speak.
Hold on, just one thing. Because they fucked up the opportunity of us seeing more of Gal Gadot. Because now
That's
there's no
true.
Justice. There's no Justice League anymore, right? Because there's no Ben Affleck. There's no Superman. So the odds of them having Justice League is very low with Gal Gadot, right? So our hopes is Wonder Woman 3, but that's it. So
When you mention Gal Gadot, you got a free pass. So
yeah.
Amen.
no, look, let's not be. Come on, let's not sugarcoat this. The first Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. Michael Keaton was actually pretty good. Kim Basinger was in that, and she was also good too. Nicholson sucked. He went way too camp and over the top. Then what do they have? George Clooney, Val Kilmer, Arnold Schwarzenegger was Mr. Freeze, Danny DeVito was it became a joke. The Dark Knight series with the Christian Bale and Heath Ledger in the first one was phenomenal.
Yep.
Stand alone, flat out the best. And then the next
second
two were
one.
all
That's the second movie.
Yeah,
Second
he was the second one. The first one was
those three.
What's his
that
name
trio.
from Taken?
Yeah, but those three
Yeah.
films.
But yeah,
were
I
flat out
know what you meant.
phenomenal.
That whole trilogy.
And Affleck sucked after it. And who else? Who
Yep.
came after when they stopped the Dark Knight series? Who was the first Batman
Nobody.
after that?
Affleck.
But Affleck.
Yeah.
So look at that. Come on. This is
How about Adam West? Adam West is good.
That's true. Adam West is a
On the
classic.
TV series, yeah.
this TV show.
Listen, Batman Returns. I was 8 years old, and I think that's when I finally realized that I liked girls because Michelle Pfeiffer in that Catwoman outfit. That was that still stands.
But I told you guys last night on our pre-call. Did you watch just Ledger's opening scene on YouTube?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it a million times.
It's fuck. I could
And
watch
who
it.
was the Catwoman? Halle Berry?
Halle Berry was another
Halle
Catwoman.
Berry,
Yeah.
yeah.
Halle Berry was another Catwoman. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
I
then
mean,
and then in the Dark Knight series, it was Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, acceptable. But Bale's
Yeah.
a great actor. The difference is Christian Bale's a great actor.
Yeah.
I can play
Listen,
anything. Believable
I
in
think
anything.
Michael Keaton will do well in the old Batman role. I just think that they're trying to do too much in such a short amount of time that it's just going to overdo it, and that's what I feel like they've done.
They're going to ruin it, like you said.
consistently. Just
gonna water
running
it
in
down
headfirst
for-
without any strategy. Yeah.
Well, we're both right, Adam. They're watering it
Yep.
down for a cash grab.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And shame on the
Totally.
actors too for like getting in. I mean, they're bringing a wheelbarrow full of money to them. I understand that, but it's like you could say no. You're 71 years old. What the fuck do you want to play Batman for?
But in
No,
all
but I
fairness,
think- I think
he was pretty
that-
good
that
in
storyline,
Spider-Man
right?
a few years ago.
yeah.
He was pretty good in what,
isn't
a few
that-
years ago.
He was in Spider-Man a few years ago as Vulture, and he was actually pretty good in that. But apparently, also they're in the Flash again. I don't know why it's all happening in the Flash, but they're gonna address and talk about what has that Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman, been up to over the past 30 years.
And you were saying the comics that they have something similar, right, with an old Batman.
Yeah, Batman Beyond. It was another cartoon
the
Batman
animated.
show.
Yeah, an animated.
Yeah. Yeah, which was actually really cool, and it was like an older Batman mentoring a young teenage Batman. And like it was all these futuristic
It's like
stuff.
Wrap this up, LK. He's going on
Like,
to a tangent
yeah.
about fucking old Batman.
Always.
Oh, Adam, yeah.
Poor
Great.
Dr. Dre's brain is bleeding
shout-
out, and we're
Yeah.
talking about Michael Keaton as Batman.
Yeah, no, so before we wrap it
So
up,
I'm just trying to
shout
do
out-
my best, John from Scranton. We're talking Batman.
Hold on. Shout out to Adam the Priest, RB, and El Crabone for the participation in the chat. Thanks for participating.
I thought we're not supposed to look at the chat.
No, I'm monitoring here, but
I'm not
thanks
supposed
for
to.
participating. And yeah, I think we're good for today, right? You guys,
Yeah, I think that's all we
What-
got for
what are we
today.
gonna end
So,
it? Guys, we're supposed to be
They-
getting
well-
more viewers. We can't wrap it up like,
Well,
okay, we're all done.
well, no, before we do, don't forget that this will also drop on your favorite podcast players tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Right.
Please download, subscribe, rate, review.
like,
And
subscribe.
follow us on Twitter
hit the bell.
at KMN All Aboard. Shut the fuck up, okay?
Justin,
Uh,
Justin, when's the last day people can donate to the Barstool Fund?
tonight
Is it tonight?
at 11:59.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
and if you have, email
well,
Robinson at
that's it. Good luck.
barstoolsports.com. If you have
BarstoolSports.com.
Barstool
Correct.
Sports, not
All right, guys.
other douche.
Hi, guys.
Have a
Thanks.
good
Bye,
night.
guys.
It's
Thank you.
scintillating show.
Talk to you guys next week.